Let me just start by saying, if you are not mechanically inclined, I would advise against doing this. This is a very time-consuming, stressful job, more especially if you're doing it by yourself. This is a 2013 BMW 328i with the N20. I had to do the oil pan gasket on it and the oil pan. So there's the oil pan. That's a plastic one. I converted it to the aluminum pan. So to start with, take the oil filter out. Take the engine mount loose on this side completely. The mount where it mounts to the mount. Those are see, this one's a T or E14. Those are E10s or 12s. Where is it at? E12s. So the smaller bolts are E12s, but you do have to have an E14 as well. The E12s are on the side of the block. The E12s are also on the bottom of the mounts. You have to take all of that stuff loose on this side. Get that engine mount completely out of the way. The isolator too. On this side, you just have to take the nut off. The nut is a 16 millimeter on both sides. Now underneath, this is where the headache came in, because BMW doesn't leave you any room whatsoever to do this job. I still got to clean everything up, but there is residual oil all over the place. I fought to get this guy in. You can see the aluminum pan. Sorry it zoomed so far in, but that's the only way my flashlight will work. These are inverted torques. They are around here somewhere. These torques are E8s. So you have to remove these bolts here for the rack and pinion. I don't know if you could actually see that or not. You have to remove these bolts. They're inverted torques as well, and I'm fairly certain that they're E12s. Yes, these are E12s. Although I did use the E14 to tighten them back in. I didn't realize that was the size that I had. You can see that my engine mount bolts are still loose, simply because it's getting dark. I wanted to go ahead and record this while I had the chance. Take your oil level switch out. You got 2 tabs on the side of it, and you might have to put a flathead in there and pop that plug off. This bolt back here and over here have to come out completely. They're 19 millimeter. And in my opinion, this is the easiest way to do this, but I would take these bolts almost all the way out, or take them all the way out, and then only put like 4 threads in there. On the front, you take these all the way out. These bolts are only about 3 inches long. Then go down to the parts store or order them online. These are head bolts for the 5.7 Hemi. They're the same thread patterns, and they're more than long enough. When you take these bolts out, you want to put those bolts in place of this. You have a bolt up here in the front. From this side, you get it off of the 13 millimeter. One on the opposing side as well. You want to make sure to put those in before you tighten all this up. You snug it up, that way you can get it close. But you don't want to wait until you get everything back together before trying to put it in. So anyways, after you get all of this crap loose, there is, or should be, a shield against the back of this transmission. Take it off. These should be 10 millimeter bolts coming in from the backside. These are 10 millimeter bolts. These are the E12s. And there are bolts along the back side, bolts along the side, and bolts along this side and the front. You can get some of these bolts through here. I think there's 2 or 3 that I got through here. This is the driver's side, US if you're in the left seat. Anyways, when you get the mount out of there, you can gain access to 2 or 3 of those bolts. I can't remember exactly which, but the mount comes out anyways, because you won't have room for anything taking the oil pan out. You have to have that space. You would be best with, I don't know where it's at. I'm under the car, so I don't really have a good field of view. I have a scissor jack, or a screw jack, whatever you want to call it. I used it on the subframe to be able to raise it back up into place and to drop it down. And I also used it on the transmission bell housing to be able to lift the transmission up a bit more and put my crossbar in up there all the way up. The main fight that I found is up in the front, getting past the timing cover or timing chain, and in the back there are like loops. You can see on the back of the transmission itself where those grooves are. That's going to be where you're going to be fighting at. So the best thing to do is jack the engine all the way up to where it won't go any higher. Make sure you're not breaking anything up top. Drop your subframe down as far as you could possibly get it without taking it all the way out. Taking the rack and pinion completely loose, but it doesn't have to come out. Just able to move it back and forth. It took me 4.5 hours to do this laying on my back. So if you need to do it, you can do it. I would advise against doing it if you're not mechanically inclined again. I'm mechanically inclined and I'll never do it again. Oh, there's the screw jack. Scissor jack, screw jack, whatever you want to call it. The bolt here for the engine lift, the one that came in the car is not the factory one that goes in the car. I had to source this one from a junkyard. It's 5/8. I don't remember what the full measurements are, but it's very coarse, and the one that was in here is much larger, and it's not the right size. So I got this one. It goes down in, and it does have a sleeve on it, so you want to stop once that sleeve bottoms out, and then you should be, the engine runs this way, that bar goes this way. Same with the crossbar that goes over the engine to hold the engine up. The crossbar that I used, which is sitting on the trash can there, came from Harbor Freight. 1 foot here and 1 foot here. Same on the other side. You can cross over this. You don't have to take this out. This is very malleable. So straddle it on both sides, and don't use a chain. Only use the hook that comes with it. Put it in there, lift it all the way up as high as it'll go. It'll literally bottom out on, it'll bottom out this hook into the base there when you got it up high enough. I mean, you can see right here where I bottomed out with the eyelet. So it's done. I have to get the oil and the oil filter and then put that tube back in and then clean up the bottom side and then send it on its merry way. Thanks for watching.